Hey guys, Mrs. Body and Miss Peterson here. Yesterday you watched a video where we introduced a science experiment. We were talking, remember, about like the spreading of germs, and we had those 4 slices of bread. Well, in a science experiment, every great scientist has to know and understand and include the different types of variables in their science experiment. So, today we are going to create this 3-column chart that Miss Peterson has already created in her science notebook. So first, what I would like you to do is pause this video to create this 3-column chart. Okay. Now that you're back, I'm going to hand it over to Miss Peterson, and she is going to describe and explain to you the different types of variables.
Hi guys. So the first variable that we're going to go over is the control variable. The control variable is the variable that allows us as scientists to get reliable results, and that's because the control variable is the thing in the experiment that is unchanged and constant. So we're going to write that. Make sure you're copying this down in your notebook as well. The thing, sorry, not that. In the thing in an experiment that is unchanged and constant. Now you might wonder what unchanged and constant means. It just simply means we keep it the same for all throughout the entire experiment. For example, in our experiment, our constant variables would be like the type of bread, that it was stored in the same type of environment, meaning the same room temperature. It was enclosed in a Ziploc bag. Those things were all kept the same to try and get reliable results. So we're going to write that. I'm going to put this down here. So like I said, the constant and the control variable in the experiment we're doing is the type of bread. And the reason why we kept the same type of bread the same is because different brands might mold quicker than others. So if we use the same type of bread, then hopefully we'll get more reliable results, and we actually would. So the types of bread, and then stored in the same type, the same environment, and then all stored in the same container, which was a Ziploc bag. So those would be the control variables. Those are the things that are staying the same. That we're going to learn about is the independent variable. And the independent variable is the part of the experiment that you change. So let's write that. Part of the experiment that you change. Now in our experiment, we changed like the materials used for the cleanliness of our hands. For example, we had really dirty hands, and I went around the room, touched a lot of things to get my hands really dirty before I touched the bread. And then I used hand sanitizer, and then touched the bread after using hand sanitizer. And then I also used hand soap, and then after using the hand soap, I touched the bread. So that is the independent variable. That's what we changed. So I'm going to write that down. Hand sanitizer, this hand soap, and then the dirty hands. So again, those are the things that we changed, the materials we used to change the cleanliness of our hands, because we really wanted to see how different hands and different, like hand sanitizer and hand soap, which one would work better to prevent the spread of mold on the bread, but we're using mold really to describe germs. And then our last variable is the dependent variable. The dependent variable is a variable that you observe and you measure. So we're going to write that down and then I'll explain it a little bit more. So the dependent variable is the variable that you, oops, can't fit that there. I'm just going to cross that off and write it down here. Observe and measure. So specifically in our experiment, the dependent variable would be the amount of mold that has grown on the bread after 3 weeks. And you'll actually get to see that tomorrow. Mrs. Body and I have taken some pictures of the bread over the course of the last 3 weeks to see how the bread, the mold has spread on the bread. So the amount of mold on the bread that's grown, that's simply the dependent variable. I'm going to write that. The amount of mold observed that has grown on the bread. And those are the 3 different types of variables.